Hey friends, welcome. It's so great to be here with you today. I am excited to share some of my top tips to go from being in the sidelines with digital crafting. If you have been one of those crafters that has wondered and been watching from the sidelines and thought to yourself, am I too old? Technology is not my friend. All the things that come with learning something new. I want you to listen up. But before we do that, I wanted to share something that's on my desk that I am so excited to show you. I wanted to share this with you because I was like, I want to talk to you about creating digitally, especially if you've been intimidated, if you've had those feelings of like, it's so pretty, but I don't know if I could do that. And all the overwhelm with the computer technology and those digital machines when people say PNG, SVG, jump through this hoopla to download it, and your brain just starts fizzing, right? Before we get into that, let's show you something pretty that I've been creating with on my desk that I'm absolutely excited about. So bear with me a second. So this is the Delightful Daisies. Some of you were here when we launched these quite a long time ago, 2015 to be exact. And I have these on my desk. I'm getting them ready for a future demonstration where I'll be showing how to create these little beauties. So all you're doing literally is purchasing them. You're printing them in the color that you desire. Well, after you purchase them, you're downloading them, you're printing them in the color that you desire, and then you choose how you want to cut them, whether that is through your digital die cutting machine or if that is scissor cutting. I personally have learned and have preferred that I would rather do the digital option than scissor cutting. I don't know about you, but then you get to color, you get to shape, and you get to create these little gems just like you would have in the past with your physical stamps and dies. So if you are a crafter that has been standing on the sidelines and you've been thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, I love the digital option. I love the fact that you can download images. It saves space in my craft rooms, but you've been skeptical. You've been one of those women that has thought to yourself, it's so beautiful, but I don't know if I could create this, right? Now, here's what I want you to think about first. Let's go back to the very beginning where you started crafting. I remember when I was a 9-year-old and my mom brought in those stamps and inks for the first time. I knew zero diddly squat about creating. But what I did have was an eager desire to learn. And that is the number one thing that you'll want to ask yourself. Am I wanting to learn this new thing in digital creating, right? And we say digital, I hold that loosely because literally with what we're doing is we're keeping it very simple. By utilizing your computer to download your images, then you can print and you can choose how you want to cut those, whether that is through your digital machine or you want to scissor cut them, right? So you get those options. So I don't want to intimidate you with that. However, in a world where technology has become so advanced and in a world where digital crafters have, exercised the muscle of learning a lot of these programs, we can get lost as beginners in feeling like the language they're speaking is literally like speaking Chinese or whatever language, right? And it feels like your brain goes on pause and it's like I couldn't do that. But what I had to remind myself anytime I do something new, because just like you, I'm learning new things. And with that, like today, I am practicing doing my own video recording from my home crafting studio. So going forward, I will be doing my creative crafting videos from my home craft room in the midst of everyday life. So I'm excited to bring you on that journey with you. But with that, I am learning some technical things. There's buttons beside me that I have to press and go back and forth with. And I have a lot of different things that I have to do that are outside of my norm when I'm doing a recording. Does that put me outside of my comfort zone? Yes. I just like to show you how to color and glitter and do all the pretty things, right? But just like I am choosing to go through the learning curve of learning how to do these videos just by myself here in my craft room, is the very same technique it takes to go from taking that digital download that you purchased and getting it to your printer and having that digitally cut out. Now, here's the thing that here's a couple steps that will help you go and guide you through the process to not only build your confidence if it's something you want to do. Now, if you are just a hands-on crafter, you are happy with what you're currently doing, like keep on that path. There's no need to switch directions. However, I do see that so many of us can really miss out. If you are watching and you identify, let me know where you're watching from, introduce yourselves. If you are a digital crafter and you've already learned the ropes, I'd like for you to go in the comments and give some like one basic, not super galactic, confusing for those of us that are learning, but just one basic tip that helped you get started. And if you are a newbie, let us know what you are excited about learning in this digital realm, right? So with the digital, one of the things that really helped me in learning something new, say for you, it might be creating with digital downloads. I like to go back and think about when I was a 9-year-old, or think about how I felt when I opened my first pack of markers, or when I looked at different ink pads. I didn't know if it was pigment ink, dye-based ink. I didn't know what I could use to stamp on clear cardstock, just porous paper. I didn't know what weights of paper to use. Heck, glitters, different, coarse glitters, the really microfine glitters, the glues, like what kind of glues do you use, right? Like there were all these tools that I started getting or seeing. Back when I started crafting, it was largely on store shelves. I didn't know what they did, but I had an eager desire to learn. And slowly over time, giving myself the option to learn, I learned. Like today, I could tell you in my sleep what most ink pads can do. Today in my sleep, I could tell you which glues do what and why you want them for certain things, right? And as you think back on your creative journey, and maybe when you first saw a beautiful dimensional flower from Heartfelt Creations, you thought, well, Emma Lou, that is so pretty, but I could never make it. But eventually you're like, I'm brave. I'm going to try that. And today, because you tried that, I'm sure you're creating some amazing flowers that don't look like your first ones. You overcame the overwhelm, the frustrations that came with creating that first flower, and now you're creating many with ease. But we tend to forget that learning curve, right? So if you are a crafter that has been kind of having FOMO on the sidelines, like you're watching and you're like, oh, I'd like to do that, but can I? I'm 70 years old. Technology is not my friend. Just ask yourself, am I at a stage where I want to learn something new? And if you are, you're invited to go onto this digital journey with us and see where it goes. And here's the thing. I always like to ask myself, what's the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is you go onto our website and you download, just purchase like your number one, stamp image, digital stamp image, or paper collection that you'd like to play with, and just give yourself the option to learn. And don't give yourself the pressure. You need to just know everything out of the gate. Just learn how to download it, how to save it onto your computer in an area where you know where it's at. And then maybe you have a printer in your office. Just print it out. Just see, put a piece of cardstock in. Is it a lightweight cardstock? What kind of cardstock can your printer handle? And see what happens. The worst thing that can happen is you ruin a piece of paper and that digital image you purchased, which might have cost you just, less than $10. You still get to play with it. It wasn't just a one-shot wonder. You can, okay, that paper printed, it's not what I'm looking for. What did I learn from it? That's how I learned. That's how I'm learning with these buttons. So I hope that opens up an avenue or a pathway for you to start exploring. And then my second tip is this. If you are a crafter and you're sitting here and you're thinking, well, I really want to get started, but you're frozen with indecision of which machine to get, one thing I do not teach is I don't teach how to use the machines. As you know, because you've been researching, there's a gazillion different, it feels like a gazillion different machines. There aren't a gazillion different machines, but it feels like that, especially when you're new. And everybody's saying, well, I like this one and I like this one. The questions you want to ask yourself is, what do I want to get out of this? Am I just wanting to print images and scissor cut them out? If that's the case, you'll want to find a printer that does what you want it to do, whether that is, do you want something that is economical and prints well? And you can ask around. We have a private Facebook group where so many crafters have been giving their input in different, printers that they like to use and why, right? So I am using the Cricut Explorer 3 and I am using a Canon Pixma printer, but that's what I chose because that is the printer I'm using is one we had and it worked beautifully for what I wanted to do. So that's why I have it. But you might find something that fits your needs. And then really zero in on whatever videos that the company that produced the machine, the videos they have outputted, because they are the experts in teaching you exactly how to use that machine and maximize it, because there's no way that one person can give all the ins and outs of all the different machines. So I focus on my wheelhouse and teaching you how to take those digital downloads that you purchased and make really beautiful things with them. So I let the gurus from that design those machines teach you the basics of what you need, which is just being able to download to your machine and print to your printer to have that print first and then have that cut out, right? So that's what you'll want to figure out if you want to go down the digital path. Now, chances are you have a digital machine collecting dust on your shelf that is not your friend and that looks at you and you keep looking at it and you're wondering if you could be friends. It's talking to you, but you took it out of the box one time and things didn't go quite as planned. I cannot tell you. Here's something that many of you might be surprised about, but in my journey as a crafter, we have this joke. When Emma Lou tries something for the first time, I usually don't like it. When I say something new, I'm not talking about a new stamp or a new die or a new design. I'm talking about, that paint that everybody was raving about, like a shimmer paint. I'm going to use that as an example. I remember the first time there was a specific shimmer paint that landed on my desk. I wanted to try it. I started using it and I was like, I don't like this stuff. And then I was like, hold on, Emily, hold on. You like how it looks and you like what it does. You haven't learned the curve of how to use this and how to maximize it. And because I was ready to just throw it in the wastebasket and say, I have other things I like to create with, right? What did I do? I actually ended up loving that shimmer paint. And there was a season where we used it all the time. And we sold thousands of those containers of shimmer paint at retail events throughout the years. Okay, so just imagine if I would have stopped when I was going through the learning curve, I would have been so robbed of the satisfaction of using it. Plus, since I teach how to use things, so many other crafters would have been robbed of the joy of learning how to use it too, right? So I encourage you that if you've been on the sidelines and you've been like, do I dip my toes in there? Do I not? If you have learned how to make flowers, if you have gone through the learning curve of using the tools that you already have in your craft room, this is no different, and you can continue to actually maximize your space in your craft room. You can maximize what you can do with these images. I have absolutely loved the ability to be able to print, scan, and cut those images to different sizes. It has opened up a whole new world for me. And so if you look at these flowers, let's take another look at these. So if you look at these, what's going to happen is you can print these and you can cut them out in the exact size that we have there for you. Or you can upsize them, you can downsize them. You have so many options. But first of all, before you just go into all the different ways that you can, resize them and things, is just focus on the basics. The basics is what gets you to the next step. And then the basics gets you to the next step. And before you know it, you know exactly what the SVG and the PNG, and you know exactly where that download went to when it's on your computer. And as you navigate through, we all start at different places. For some of us, just getting a download onto our computer, and then knowing where it goes and figuring out how to organize that is just step one, right? So don't put the pressure on yourself of being perfect. Just focus on progress, and you will learn the joys of creating with digital downloads, just like I have, just like you. I went through a learning curve, and I had always, here's a little surprise for you, but it goes back with the same way I thought about the shiver. I actually resisted doing any digital crafting because I thought it was difficult. I thought, because of what I had seen with digital crafters, and it's nothing against them, it's just because they have already gone to a very advanced version of what they're doing because they've learned, right? And I was like, okay, well, if I can do this with just the basics of, downloading it to your computer and then printing it out and having a machine that scans and cuts that, amazing. It feels like I have a nanny in my craft room, because you can have that machine cutting out those images while you're making whatever project you're working on. It is such a beautiful feeling. Plus, you see this behind me, that is my crafting cabinet with my physical craft products in it. Plus, I have some other areas that you can't see. So I am not scrounging around for space in my room, which is amazing. And I can have big, small, little, all the different sizes. So I feel like when I talk about all these upsizing, downsizing, like we're doing a fast food order. So if anybody's getting hungry, I understand. So tell me in the comments if you have been intimidated with digital downloads and if you are ready to embark on the journey. And the worst thing that can happen is you download an image for less than $10, you print it out, and you decide, you know what, it's not for you. The best thing that can happen is it starts you on a journey and opens up a world of creativity that you didn't think was possible for you. And that is who I'm excited for. And that is the crafters. I have seen so many crafters jump on to this bandwagon with digital downloads, incorporating it with the images that they already have. And they've been so excited and also surprised at how beautifully their, the intricate cut files cut out for them for those beautiful backgrounds that we love for cards, plus the paper collections. I cannot tell you how much you can take those paper collections, use those elements, you can upsize them, downsize them, and there are elements in there that you really would have not used in those ways. And you'll see videos upcoming. I can't wait to share the June lineup with you. I am using kind of a flex with my schedule. I am a mom of two bounce little boys, but I also have a passion for creating. And right now my goal is to bring you a video on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to just pop that in your calendar, join me live, and I love interacting with you, you can do that. Just pop that in, it's Eastern time. And if you cannot make it during that time, you can always go back and rewatch, but your comments are a currency for me. I love to see what you're learning and what you're creating. So the first lineup that we have coming up for you in June, we're going to be doing a digital launch that is masculine related, right in time for Father's Day, which I'm excited. So the first 2 videos of June will be all about those guys in your life that we get to celebrate, and then we will be showing you how to create these beautiful daisies that I have in front of me. We'll do this version, which is the beautiful pinks with 3 different color tones, and then I think we will do maybe a fun card with the Birds and Blooms collection. If you don't know where to get started and you're on the sidelines, I would actually highly recommend downloading and purchasing the Birds and Blooms collection. That is a timeless classic, launched in 2015. The cozy garden scenes you can do in minutes when you have those images cut out is phenomenal. It blows my mind. Like, you don't have to be the crafter anymore that sits around and says, I don't have a card for so-and-so. Like, you can have those images die cut out, and just the colors, just the elements laying in front of you on the table offers so much inspiration. It's crazy. I can look at that and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a hard time staying focused even for the content that I'm creating for videos, because I'm like, I want to make this and I want to make this, and I'm kind of jumping around. So bear with me as I go through the learning curve of doing my own videos for my crafting studio here at home. I'm so excited what we have in store for you. And in the meantime, get yourself prepped for doing the digital downloads if you haven't done that already. And I'm so happy for the women that are already experiencing the beauty of creating with digital downloads and bringing them alongside the stamps and dies and other shaping molds that they already have. Now, if you don't know this, one of the things that fuels our website, one of the things that fuels and saves crafters when you are shopping with us is this, the Insider membership. The Insider membership is $12.99 a month, so it's basically less than 2 to 3 of your favorite beverage. That gets you access to a couple different things. First up is you save and get a 40% discount on all digital downloads. So that's just a smart thing to do. And then you also save 20% on all physical products that are crafting basics that we ship to you. You get free shipping on all of those if you are in the US. You get a 20% discount if you're one of our international crafting friends. And you get access to all online classes. Those are valued at $30 each. They're 2 hours in length, and those are like a crafter's vault. Many of those projects, like I've taught thousands of people and taken them through those classes, and the raving reviews, you can see it for yourself, but they take crafters from thinking they can't do the project that's featured to stepping them through like a GPS. So that is a top favorite for Insider members. Plus, when you are an Insider member, it also fuels the website, meaning it is a crafter's community support in the resources we use to bring that website and make it available to you. So lots of different benefits with that. So become an Insider member, start saving on your digital downloads, and have access to all the free resources plus the paid resources as well. And I can't wait to see you right back here next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, happy creating, and thank you so much for being part of the Heartfelt Creations crafting family.